Good evening and welcome to Have I Got News For You? I'm Victoria Coren Mitchell. In the news this week, there's dismay for the chef as another customer orders the American. At Central Office, a trip to the first floor is a bit of a treat for some of the Conservative Party membership who voted for Liz Truss. And most commentators agree that Liz Truss could have chosen a more private moment to tell one of her ministers that they're... On Ian's team tonight is a journalist. Second time in a week she's been in a venue where half the audience are asleep. Please welcome Isabel. On Paul's team is a comedian who... Unfortunately, it was a 3-hour special. Please welcome... We begin with the bigger news stories of the week. Ian and Isabel, have a look at this.
So you were there. How gloomy was it?
Oh, it was great.
I read in the papers that Liz's speech...
If it had come at...
Did you see Therese Coffey's speech?
I mean...
Biggest reaction from the crowd.
Greenpeace demonstrators?
But one annoying... I'm so sorry, that wasn't the climate change people, that was Chris Mason from the BBC. The climate change protesters, let's look at them. When they were all shouting out, 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 I was a de-lanyarded there that Jacob Rees-Mogg avoid that happening to him. Or Jacob Rees-Mogg, where... Here's a debate that I enjoyed. I hope you know the answer to this. Is Theresa May's school was a comprehensive school?
No school.
What about John...
Keyword is...
One pundit before...
We remind ourselves of that particular Liz Truss avoid that. I turn to you as a sort of high-tech expert. Yeah. The downside of using that a computer whizzes can adjust it. What is the anti-growth coalition?
It's an... You just list everybody and say they're anti-growth.
The coalition included... The Daily Mail said number 10. Let's see who Liz Truss thought was to blame for the 45% tax. Somebody could have reported to. Blaming for the financial meltdown. On the death of the Queen. Don't we have a look at him at the Queen's funeral, just processing that grief?
Oh, yeah.
I think there's going to be an election soon.
I mean...
She wasn't going to drop the plan to scrap the 45p. Turned on that, leading to this head unison. Liz Truss said it. Should she have stuck with it? What is it that Liz Truss doesn't like? Taking taxi.
Yes.
Trust by The Guardian whether she herself had ever taken a taxi from her London townhouse to the BBC studios at a Downing Street spokesperson. The pound has recovered slightly, but who is a weak...
The hedge funders.
It's good for those people and also tourists. We advertised flights to American customers, the slogan that they used for meetings at the palace with the Saudis. It was the same. It was said.
I mean, and the only reason I feel...
I said, if we... Of course, we have to put that judgment in the context of Nadine Dorries describing Boris Johnson. What advice did the chairman of the Parliamentary Conservative Party, Jacob... Never heard of him until today. I'm going to say that right out.
Yep.
Comforting. Nuclear war. This is the news that Liz Truss is still Prime Minister. Thatcher must be turning in her grave, if such a thing were possible, which of course is not, because of the wooden stake. An attendee at the Conservative conference, adding, anyway, here's your name badge, enjoy the conference. The Prime Minister admitted her policies would cause disruption. So presumably that's how they ended up with MP. Paul and Ivo, take a look at this.
Yeah, something I'm interested in. Rappers after 70 years...
You used to look through the...
Used to make it look as if it was in colour.
Have you done this? No, it's for environmental. Would you like to see the old rappers compare... Here are the old...
Street.
PR, so,
yeah.
you know, to get people talking about it. So I
Yeah.
probably should clarify, they look shit. But who thinks...
Society that has sort of said no.
Alex, it's actually a she, according to the Sunday
Well...
She's a chocolate. Yeah, I mean, I've got a list here. William of Orange.
Was the road...
Of Marathon. Each individual quality street has its own wrapping machine.
Not at all.
Oh. Well...
I wouldn't expect that from them.
Who do you think was more enthusiastic than Paul about the fact that each individual Quality Street chocolate has its own wrapping machine?
I was...
At the factory.
Yeah.
The next scene is...
Yes.
Yes.
What would Jacob Rees-Mogg like you to do with the chocolate orange?
I'll tell you what, Jacob Rees-Mogg.
Oh, I know. Of it.
Jacob Rees-Mogg
Yeah.
would like us all, as a passive protest against the nanny state, to... In a climate change breakthrough, Nestlé have announced that some of the wrappers on Quality Street will soon be... Quality Street are yet another example of the modern woke agenda ruining the traditions of Christmas. This year, they've even got a man doing the Queen's speech. Just Quality Street will be rolled out across the entire product and tubs. Coincidentally, the nicknames of the remaining members of Take That. And so, thermometer of news. And why do you think he had this change of heart?
Because he realised...
Well, he was being sued by Twitter for pulling out of the deal. The possible outcomes of the case was that he would lose and be forced to buy it. So some people are saying, well, if he buys it now, it works out much cheaper for him. Stand X, the Everything app.
Well, he's got a
US Democratic Party worried about this takeover by Elon Musk. Where has the former president been posting on social media since he's been off Twitter? Posting through the medium of Truth Social, times described as, and she's seen Ivo's old MySpace page, so strong. Joe Biden embarrassed himself last week in relation to the Congresswoman Jackie Walorski. Asked her to stand up at a rally, but unfortunately, she struggled to do. Has Elon Musk been trying to solve?
He's been trying. And then there was a bit.
And what did the Ukrainian ambassador to Germany say in response? Fuck off, yeah. Tesla announced that they're branching out into something that we saw this week, a new...
Oh, is it a robot?
Musk said it was a fun...
A picture of one.
We could see actual footage of this
Fantastic.
groundbreaking... Other technology news, what piece of equipment was malfunctioning at a London Travelodge this week? Mark from Swansea got a message on Monday night from his hotel. This is the news that Elon Musk has decided that he'll go ahead with his plan to buy Twitter. The BBC reported that the initial meeting to buy the social media firm, on that farm, he agreed to become Twitter CIEIO.
It's an Apple...
On Buzz's teams. Here's the next one. There were reports he'd been ordered not to go, so there was a row. Prince William recently cut rivers and a tin mine. Income was from the Duchy of Cornwall estate. From the Duchy of... £23 million of earnings. Inherited the Queen's estate, he didn't pay inheritance tax. But other than that, he's just... Why might Prince William struggle to make the most of the tin? Well, it certainly doesn't now, because it's been forced to close because it was late paying its rent to the duchy on time. What did the man running the mine... No, he said... Nation is expected... 3rd, 2023. What else is happening that day? The FA Cup final. Players will be competing... This is the news that Liz Truss told King Charles not to go to the COP27 climate summit. The royals are nervously awaiting Prince Harry's tell-all memoir. Andrew, if you're scouring the index, you're listed under P. Not Prince, a bit higher up. William's recently inherited Duchy of Cornwall estate includes a tin mine in Cornwall. Prince William will be able to sell any metal produced by the tin mine thanks to the ancient royal proclamation, whoever smelt it, dealt it. Go. Yes.
You just want to talk about anal.
Player makes lots of money and wins competitions.
Yes.
And she...
View, this woman is definitely not cheating. On poker players to understand about it is, he went all in and she called, and you go, how would you know you had the winning hand with Jack High? But she didn't really, because Jack was beating his 8. He can hit any 6, any Jack, any 7, any 8, or any club. So mathematically, her hand is... I think it's interesting because what people are accusing her of is having a hidden vibrating device. Like,
yes.
And I don't think any of it's true. I don't think the chess player did either. I think he had an ear. Have you ever cheated at a game?
See.
There has been a cheating allegation somewhere.
Of fishing.
Yes, it has.
Fishing?
With these competitions. And you could win, like, $50,000 for catching the heaviest fish. So this chap just stuffed lead weights into the... If we have a look at the moment, they were... This is the news that the poker world has been rocked by accusations of cheating. A poker player has been accused of cheating by having a vibrating device hidden on her body. That doesn't make sense to me. If you've got a good, strong hand, why would you need a vibrator? Suspicious.
Yes.
She had a remote-controlled device concealed on her body when she not only made surprising calls, but also her garage door kept opening. One out round. Only one for you all this week. Be something about Suella Braverman that you don't know. Usual name, isn't it? Suella Braverman was given at birth is Sue. The Home Secretary told the Sun. Given that information, out how these clues relate to each other? No, and his surname is according to his biographer, Gwenda Blair.
Yes.
The Trumps were originally named...
And
one out.
Beatrice.
No, her parents wanted to call her Annabelle,
Oh, yes.
but apparently the Queen...
Will.
What I've got on the card is...
Yeah,
Yes.
tell us what's on the card.
Changed by members of the family.
By T.
Exactly. Reported to have said Trump's first question to Trump. Of course, he did then, and he still does now. Denmark have to change his name.
He's not being...
The Queen Margarita II. What will their titles be in future?
The Earl...
Counts and count. I mean, good luck putting that on a badge at Argos. But that's the idea. They'll have more normal names. Turned up at Prince Andrew's home in Windsor recently. She's a Spanish woman. She just turned up there. She said she was Andrew's fiancée in. It was described by the... So that should have been a clue, shouldn't it? Yeah. Their name changed by their family, except for Suella Braverman, who had her name changed by a teacher. Suella Braverman was named after her mum's favourite, Dallas. Nothing wrong with that. I very nearly called my daughter Ian Hislop. Means at the end of this round, it's
we're back.
the Words round, which this week features as its guests. It's a nice magazine to enjoy with a drink. I usually start with a double. Flashback to 2009, back when we were reeling from a financial crisis, the Prime Minister's days were numbered and the country was desperate for a general election. It's a way of looking at a 64-year-old Dutch woman finally received a postcard from her sister 42 years after it was sent. The woman was delighted to receive the message until she saw the PS, "Can you feed the cat?" Lee Wright, who started the London Marathon by making a mad dash for the front in order to prove to his friends he could lead the race. Let's have a look at him. Cat, who's a frequent visitor to Drury Primary School in Flintshire. Cat goes into school every day. Presumably he's just waiting for his turn to be asked to look after the school hamster. From Dr. Darts' newsletter, and this story was in their edition, issue 180.
Very gentle.
Of Mars, Grant Reed, says he's been sampling the company's pedigree chum for years, though occasionally it gives him an upset stomach, which is not good news for Mrs. Reed, who has to pick up after him. Size of its personnel. Well, because...
There's some sort of... because you...
Patrick, the Dr. Darts editor, tells readers that he researches, writes and publishes the newsletter all on his own. So one up on The Guardian, then. Complaining that they're no longer being given biscuits with their cups of tea, to which a National Trust spokesman said, hang on, we're giving you tea? Isn't that mean? All those nice people who volunteer for the done, they want a cup of tea and biscuits.
They like...
Staring you in the face, I need the exact... I'll get that. This is a report on a visitor from the UK who came to teach them all, though, off the ground. If you're a beginner, that's where they usually end up. It's written by... This is the news that a bundle of letters written by Queen Victoria. Experts believe she may have been drunk at the time of writing and used abbreviations... One of the aubergine, chair leg. Ian and Isabel have 5. We go, there's just time for the caption. Which note we say thank you to our panellists. I leave you with news that in Somerset, the PR team for EDF Energy insist that the new Hinkley C nuclear power station is... At Westminster, there's an awkward silence as Keir Starmer identifies 2 big reasons why the electorate stopped. And at the Radisson Hotel in Birmingham, it's still a mystery as to how carbon monoxide was diverted into Michael Gove. Good night.